The octopus, one of the world's most intelligent creatures. With their intelligence and nimbleness and incredible predatory skills, they are one of the ocean's most fascinating and dangerous creatures. Now imagine that same animal, but the size of a giant squid. And some reports in the Bahamas speak of a creature that is truly terrifying. Join me, and welcome to Tales from the Den. Sea monsters come in all shapes and sizes, and have been reported from all corners of the earth for centuries. Such accounts never cease to amaze and inspire the imagination, and remain legends and tales. One very interesting type of sea monster comes to us from the Bahamas, in the Caribbean Sea, where something seemingly malevolent has long been reported to prowl these waters. Among all of the islands of the Bahamas, the largest is the island of Andros, which consists of an area greater than all the rest of the islands combined, and tourists flock here from all around the world to see them. Andros is also home of the most famous blue holes, a phenomenon in which deep sinkholes form in the bedrock and descend down into the clear waters, forming what looks like a black hole in the middle of the sea. These blue holes can dive down into vast underground submerged cave systems that can travel downwards to hundreds of meters and stretch on and fan out for miles, with much of this often virtually being unexplored. They are typically visually stunning, with their striking deep blue hues contrasting with the shallower waters around them, and they are typically havens for divers. Down in these depths can also be found surreal scenes of animal remains and fossils perfectly preserved in their watery graves by the salty oxygen-free waters and slow water exchanges at the bottom of these pits that conspire together to prevent decomposition. Although the blue holes are found in many places throughout the world, they are particularly common in the Bahamas, with the second deepest one in the world, the 202-meter or 663-foot Dean's Blue Hole, located at the archipelago Long Island. By far the most well-known blue holes among these are the blue holes of Andros. The island consists of an estimated 200 of these holes on land and around 50 along the coast, which draw a large number of tourists looking to dive within them. Often perilous and very dangerous, these underwater cave systems are certainly not for the faint of heart. The blue holes can pose many dangers for divers, such as disorientation, tight passageways, and sudden currents. But if island legends and some mysterious reports are to be believed, there is also a giant sea creature dwelling around the caves as well. They refer to as the Lusca, which is traditionally described as a giant octopus with razor-sharp teeth, as well as being massive in size, somewhere in between being 75 to 200 feet in length. Whatever it may be, one thing that is always the same and agreed upon with these tales is that the Lusca is most certainly predatory and quite dangerous. The Bahamas, and in particular Andros, has countless stories of the Lusca lurking in these waters, where they are said to favor the secluded caves of blue holes during the day and to come out at night to feed. Numerous fishermen have claimed to have seen the creatures, and it is often claimed that whole boats have been attacked below the surface in the vicinity of the blue holes. The Lusca is often blamed on divers who have vanished or died in the blue holes, with some accounts even speaking of the bodies of survivors demonstrating abnormally large sucker marks upon the flesh. Some of the more dramatic tales even say that even the shoreline is not necessarily safe, with people on the beach sometimes getting snatched and dragged off to the caves if they venture too close to the water. While it may all sound like mere local folklore, witnesses typically swear by what they have seen, and sightings and encounters have continued on into very recent times. In 2005, an underwater diver in one of the blue holes claimed that he was attacked by an enormous octopus that he estimated as being around 50 feet in diameter, which reportedly actually stole his camera before retreating into a murky cave. And yet another diver claimed to have seen a nurse shark get grabbed by a tentacle as thick as a telephone pole and sucked into a hole within the cave. There was also a recent report of a fishing boat whose crew noticed something yanking their buoys completely underwater, a feat which would take a phenomenal amount of strength. One of the buoys was still attached to the boat, and the entire vessel was apparently actually dragged through the water by the mysterious force for some time. Sonar on the boat allegedly showed a large pyramid-shaped creature, and traps attached to the buoys that were retrieved possessed damage, as if they had been mauled and twisted as if by something huge. A more well-known story than these are the various expeditions launched by a few famous TV programs. Perhaps the most dramatic of these was a trip made by the show called Destination Truth. During this expedition, the crew allegedly picked up an anomalous sonar reading of something enormous and moving and crawling about, which they had at first taken to be part of a cave wall. One of the divers they had put into the water also saw it, saying that something gigantic moved through the water in a cloud of bubbles and sand, and into a tunnel, and a crew on the boat were so concerned that something so large and potentially dangerous was in there with him that they pulled him out and even turned off the lights on their boat to avoid attracting the creature. The most common theory for what the Lusca could be is that it is an enormous, unidentified species of octopus, and there has even been some evidence pointing to this. Parts of the carcass of what is thought to have been an extremely large specimen of an octopus allegedly washed up on the Grand Bahama Island on January 18th of 2011, and appeared to be only the head and mouth of the creature. When the potential size was compared using normal octopuses as a comparison, it was estimated that this creature would have been between 20 and 30 feet across. The story was initially reported by the Freeport News, and the size estimate was supported by the Department of Marine Service. Oddly, in July of the same year, another octopus carcass, measuring 12 feet across, was found floating on the surface in the same vicinity. Unfortunately, the specimen was merely measured but not retrieved. Amazingly enough, in the case of these carcasses, there are actually known types of living octopuses that reach the sizes approaching these accounts, such as the giant Pacific octopus, the largest known species of octopus recorded, which can have an arm span of up to 4.3 meters or 14 feet, with unconfirmed claims that they can possess massive arm spans, all the way up to 30 feet, and weigh up to 600 pounds. Something like this could certainly be exaggerated, as being even larger still. But the problem is that this particular species is native to the coastal North Pacific, nowhere near the Bahamas. However, it still shows that some species of an octopus can get to be rather large, so perhaps there is an undiscovered species of similar proportions, or even larger than the giant Pacific octopus, living in the Caribbean waters of the Bahamas, although nothing like this has been recorded to be living here. The Lusca is a relatively little-known creature within the world, but it is no less intriguing than many of the other mysterious creatures out there, leaving a lot of questions of its own. Whatever the case may be, this creature remains an elusive mystery that causes one to look into the alluring caves in the ocean in a new way, and wonder if something isn't lurking there. Thanks for watching. Till next time.